Hey everybody, I'm Drew. Welcome back to the channel. I've got a few pickups I'm going to share with you today, a couple of shout outs, and also a quick VR for Brent Richards. So let's go ahead and start with that VR for Brent Richards. Brent, I grew up in rural Nebraska and there really wasn't much of an opportunity to see a big league game when I was a kid. It probably would have taken us, a little over 5 hours to get to Kansas City. That's if you didn't have any potty breaks for kids. So you're probably looking at 5.5 hours, maybe 6 hours to get to a game. It just wasn't realistic. It just wasn't something that we did. Also, when you grow up in a rural area, you've got, they say there are no Sundays west of the Mississippi. So things were really, time rather was really occupied by that rural life of maybe feeding animals, farming, things of that nature. Truth be told, I didn't go to a big league game. I don't think it was until I was in my 30s. And, honestly, the few games I have gone to haven't been really that memorable. But there was a minor league game that I went to with my buddy Doug and Joe on Staten Island, New York. And we went to see, I can't remember if they were called the Staten Island Yankees at the time or if they were called... at some point, they changed their name to the Pizza Rats or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. But here's the back of that hat. It says Staten Island Yankees, obviously an affiliate of New York Yankees. But anyway, went to that game, and I'm going to show here a picture of us at the game. So I'm on the left, my buddy Doug's in the middle, and my other buddy Joe, who lives on Staten Island to this day, is on the right. And really all I can tell you about this game was we had a good time. But why this game sticks out in my head is because in the months after this game, after I had returned home, my buddy Doug in the middle there passed away unexpectedly. And this game was the last time I got to see Doug and talk to him. I think he was only 42 years old at the time of his passing. So Brent, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I'm sorry about that, but this game is probably the one that sticks out the most to me. And I guess the message here that I'd like to convey is that life is short. We're all on the clock. And if your friend asks you to do something, or your buddies ask you to do something, or your family asks you to do something, do the very best to say yes. Because you never know if you're going to have another opportunity to say yes. Okay, now real quick for a couple of shout outs. Andy's Addict is a guy that's been commenting on many of our videos for quite some time, and he started his own channel, and he's well under 100 subs, but I wanted everybody to know he started a channel. Please go check him out. If you want to see a guy dancing around in a Santa outfit, he's your guy. He's a Pittsburgh fan. He's in the Pennsylvania area. And I'm not sure why, but he wears safety glasses inside, which I know is an OSHA violation. I don't know what's going on there. Next one is Andy over at D's Collection. I absolutely loved Andy's channel. He takes the time to sit down and put the right words together before making his video. I know I get on here and it's just kind of a free-for-all. I don't know what the heck I'm going to say, but Andy really thinks it out, and I really appreciate that about him. And he's got a heck of a basketball collection. And he's been around for quite some time. And I'm hoping all you guys will get over there and check out his channel. And, if nothing else, I think you're going to find Andy is one of the most sincere guys. If you're looking for a friend, this is the place to go. All right, let's move on. Hey, I picked up this 1988 wax box unopened. It's got all the packs inside. I think it was, 36 at the time. Picked it up for $20 at my local card shop. I don't know. I know it's junk wax. I know it's not worth a lot, but I've been stockpiling a lot of this stuff. I better not let the TTMers know that I have all that stuff over here. They may be looking for TTM fuel. But anyway, the next one, I picked up this... Kellogg's card of Vida Blue. Vida Blue, he had a 45.1 WAR, 3.27 ERA in his lifetime. He's a Louisiana native. And I should point out, this is Kellogg's card from 1976. He's a six-time All-Star. He was the first to start an All-Star game as a pitcher for both the American League and the National League. Pete Rose once said he was the hardest throwing pitcher that he had ever faced. Three-time World Series champion. He won the American League MVP in 1971 with 24 wins and a 1.82 ERA. He also won the Cy Young. That was a heck of a season. And he's in the A's Hall of Fame. He threw a no-hitter on September 21st, 1970, and a combined no-hitter on September 28th, 1975. I ran into him. I'm going to go ahead and put him on a card stand over here really quick. But I ran into him. I actually ran into him a couple times. He used to go to spring training and watch the A's, and he'd be signing autographs very graciously for everyone. Most of the time he was trying to raise money for the Fergie Jenkins Foundation, but as you can see right down here, he signed a jersey for me. So that's why you're seeing this Oakland number 35 jersey today as my backdrop. But in one of my conversations with Vida Blue, I found out he was an outstanding quarterback in high school, and so much so that Tom Osborne at the University of Nebraska had offered him a scholarship. So kind of a fun conversation, at least for me, since I'm from Nebraska. He died on May 6, 2023 at the age of 73. Next up, we've got a guy named Howie Fox, and this is his 1953 card. Yes, I know, I'm addicted to the Topps 1953 cards, but I like Howie's, I like his story. He's an Oregon native. He was an outstanding basketball player, so much so that he got a scholarship to the University of Oregon. In 1981, he was inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. 7 seasons with the Cincinnati Reds, 1 season with the Phillies, 1 season with the Orioles. And at the age of 34, well, before 34, he had purchased a bar in San Antonio, Texas, and was working in his bar, and he was murdered on October 9th, 1955. 3 college students had come in, he'd kicked them out, and then an ensuing scuffle on the street or the sidewalk outside the bar, and one of them pulled out a knife and stabbed him. So an unfortunate end to Mr. Fox. Now here's something you won't see on my channel very often, and that is modern cards. But I did buy a pack of the Topps Chrome Platinum, and I don't know if you can see it there, but I got this card. It's numbered 24 out of 25, some sort of orange wave refractor or something or another. But hey, Rickey Henderson, he's one of my guys. Rest in peace, Rickey Henderson. And the backs are not very impressive at all. Not at all. But the front, they did a really nice job, and they kind of formatted it after the 1954 Topps design. So, Rickey Henderson. Next up, I have this 1960 Topps of Hall of Famer Richie Ashburn. And Richie Ashburn was born in Tilden, Nebraska. It's a little tiny town just on the edge of the Sandhills with a population of less than 1,000 people. He was a 5-time All-Star. 6 if you want to count, back then they would have 2 All-Stars, two All-Star games in one season, and he participated in that. So either 5 All-Stars or 6, however you want to look at it. 2-time National League batting champion. His Phillies #1 is retired, and also he's in the Phillies Hall of Fame. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, as I mentioned earlier. He was inducted in 1995. And he made his home in that little town of Tilden, Nebraska during each offseason, where he would then referee high school basketball games. And that's what he did to kind of try to stay in shape. So Richie Ashburn. Of course, most of you out there on the East Coast know that he ended up being quite a broadcaster, too, for Phillies games. So we'll put Richie Ashburn over here. All right, the next card I have here for you is a guy named Frank Malzone, and this is a 1956 Topps card. And as most of you know, I'm trying to complete this set in a graded fashion. And here's the front. There's your back. So he was born in Bronx, New York, and he was signed by the Boston Red Sox. He served in the United States Army from 1952 and 1953, three-time Gold Glove, six-time All-Star, 8 again if you count the years in which he played in 2 All-Star games in 1 season. He's in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. He died at the age of 85 on December 29th, 2015. But there's a couple other things I noticed about this card real quick. So Mr. Malzone never wore the number 5, so we know that's not him, right? Now, he also played for the Boston Red Sox, right? And they're called the Boston Red Sox because they wear red socks. And you're going to notice that's a blue stirrup. So I got to thinking, Mr. Malzone is not in this background picture. Well, who is? And so I did some research and I figured out this is the Washington Senators socks they used. And that would be the possibility of 3 different people to include Harmon Killebrew. But it's not Harmon Killebrew, and I'll explain in a second why. It took me some time then to figure out, well, what team was this? And I had to really look hard at these socks, and it's probably not going to show up in camera very well, but it's the Chicago White Sox, but they didn't wear that particular design in 1955. And so I thought, well, so what years could it come from? Well, 1951, 1953, or 1954. Well, to make a long story short, I kind of figured out this was Ed Yost, and this was most likely Johnny Groth. But in either case, it's not Frank Malzone. All right, we'll go ahead and set Mr. Malzone back here, hopefully. I really love the background of those 1956 Topps cards. I think there's just so much going on back there. So, and then the last card I have here is of this guy, and I'm trying to complete his run as most of you know. This is a 1975 Topps card. This is after Mr. Watt was traded to the Philadelphia Phillies. And so there you go. And I'd like to end with Mr. Watt, just as a reminder, on February 11th, which is a Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, myself, Dan, and John Mangini on John Mangini's channel. Well, thank you for tuning in, and keep growing your collection, card farmers.